Season's greetings and welcome live from Snapdragon Stadium here, the San Diego Punto Football, the San Diego Football post-game show. We welcome everybody coming in, hopefully getting home safe or already safe at home, as 22 plus thousand people try to fill Snapdragon Stadium tonight for a 0-0 match between San Diego FC and Sporting Kansas City. My name is Tony Sanchez. Currently, we had Chiva, who is uploading some of the post-match sound from head coach Mikey Varas, along with Captain Yepes Verskov and Luca Bombino, who came off of a very difficult match tonight and came away with 1 point. And a lot of the questions whenever a tie ends up happening at home is whether did you drop 2 points or did you equalize and save one? We're going to hear what head coach Mikey Varas has to say about that. So with that, we want to welcome everybody who is joining for this post-game show live here from Snapdragon Stadium, the Two Balls Terrace. And it was a difficult match for San Diego from the get-go. Looked like Kansas City was giving a little bit of space for San Diego to really operate, and that's something that San Diego's had a couple of challenges with this season. Is whenever they have too much space or too much to think about, is when they find it very difficult to capitalize. They see the spaces, they see exactly what they're supposed to do to stick to their style, but it just doesn't translate into the final third. And it's another game where the final third is definitely going to be a point of discussion, as the starting lineup for San Diego FC is relatively similar, if not the exact same, as Mikey Vadas has been having for the last couple of games in mind. So with that, you had up at the back, CJ Dos Santos coming back off of that great performance in the midweek, stopping a penalty. He was over the moon at training. He's laser focused, and guess what? 0-0 still means a clean sheet. You have the first start for Owen Verhoeven, the youngster coming over from San Jose Earthquakes, featured in the right back position, who, from what we've been told, is going to be an incredibly important player moving forward for San Diego FC, not necessarily because he was planned for since the beginning and he's somebody that they circled. It's just a really good player that they happen to go ahead and come across, and a player that has a fantastic trajectory, Owen Verhoeven, in the right back. And then the center back, the McDefense, Patty McNair and Chris McVeigh, who I was talking with Chiba up in the press box earlier. And Chris McVeigh is quietly becoming if not one of the most important players for San Diego FC. And then you go ahead and have Luca Bombino there, cementing himself on the left back position. Another youngster who, in the defensive standpoint, it means that there's a lot of trust there with Luca Bombino, what he's been able to do. He very boldly reminded us that, he's still only 18 during the post-match press conference where he was featured. Sporting KC was playing for a tie, absolutely. And you can definitely tell that at the end of the game, they were trying to just get the match over and done with. Some of the dark arts were summoned, and San Diego FC and company, including Mikey Varas, had some words, actually, and some points of some thoughts on the way that Sporting Kansas City was going about that. In the end, Oscar looked a little bit shaky. He did look a little bit shaky for moments, but ultimately I think it was figured out. But Kansas City, I think this was the perfect game for Verhoeven to start, because Kansas City wasn't really risking anything. They weren't really putting numbers forward. At no real point did I really think that Kansas City had a chance to really come back and muster and string a couple of plays together to put San Diego FC on their toes. And, that's ultimately what allows San Diego FC so much space. And right here on the lineup for KC, obviously, Joveljic, the star player for Kansas City, not being featured. And I think it was very fortunate for San Diego FC not to have faced Joveljic this evening, because that could have been somebody who could have been an X factor in that match. Here, as you see, kickoff in Snapdragon Stadium. Some humidity, some, it wasn't the driest pitch out there, and the pitch has been a point of discussion. Actually, post-match, I was catching up with a couple of the media pals that we have, and yeah, we're just pointing out just the divots, the amount of areas where the grass is just popping up and popping up, really just not allowing for that smooth surface to be throughout Snapdragon. So a point to really start looking at here as we cross the first third of the MLS season. This match reminded me of the first home game against St. Louis, where, yeah, a lot of space, a lot of time for San Diego FC, but not a lot of I'm not going to say urgency in the final third. It just seems like whenever it was time to get some more attack in the final third, it was already too late in the second half. And that's something that, and unfortunately, San Diego FC just couldn't overcome. And Kansas City came over and they played their game. Their game was to come out here, get themselves a point, especially looking at the table. If you want to take that into consideration, but also you want to take into consideration that San Diego FC this is the first time that they play 3 games in such a short amount of time. If you want to take that 20,000-foot view of this past week with 3 games, you come out of that with 7 points out of a possible 9. I think that's a net positive as you continue a difficult May with 5 matches in this month alone, and still having one big match coming up with a Western Conference rival. Just, it's LA. LA Galaxy is coming up, so that is something to take into consideration. There was a scary moment for San Diego FC. It did look like Chucky went down after having a collision. Sounds like everything was cleared. Obviously, he came back to play on the field. But, that real moment was the only real moment of feature for Chucky Lozano. After that, he did seem to be a little bit out of the game. As we'll hear and wait for the press conference, as we have some sound now from the press conference, we're going to hear from head coach Mike Ibarras, who was, I don't want to say he wasn't not content, but, obviously not the happiest of bees when it comes to the results here tonight. Head coach Mike Ibarras.
Mike Ibarras, we'll start with questions in English. You can start up here.
Hello, Mikey. Tony Sanchez, San Diego Football. A difficult match today where it seemed like Sporting gave some space in order to try to break through those lines. But what made it so difficult tonight to get past Kansas City?
Yeah, we played against a different type of challenge in this game with Sporting KC pretty much just sitting in a block, being really patient, maximizing the width of the field in terms of their shape. They were quite disciplined in it, so I think credit to them for their game plan. They slowed the game down a lot with goalkeeper taking a lot of time, taking their time in the throw ins. Disrupting any sort of quick restart that we can make. And listen, that's a challenge that we're going to have to learn how to face too, because the last few games we've been faced with teams that want to come and press us. But when you make when you break that press, then you have a lot of space to make a breakthrough. And then the other side of that is when you lose that ball, like maybe they're a little bit closer. This was a little bit different where I think we controlled the chances pretty well. They had the one chance from the right winger cutting inside, and he hit the post from outside the box, but other than that, they didn't have very much to offer in terms of attacking, but we didn't find the key to unlocking either.
Mike Alejandro, San Diego Football. Can you explain a little bit about the Milan Iloski substitution? Seemed like he was playing more in the center mid position when we've seen him in the past at the striker role.
Yeah, so we didn't feel that we wanted to take out either of the 3 that were in the front because we were actually building some momentum at that point. And so, but we wanted to put another attacking player on the field. Luca De La Torre was had a pretty good game, but didn't have that sharpness in terms of the final pass. And so getting Milan at the 10 and still having him make those kind of late runs into the box, we thought might might just give us a more attacking setup.
Any other English questions for the Spanish? We'll go right here. Right here.
Talked yesterday about the obvious importance of winning at home, particularly against teams lower in the standings. When you look at this game, can you take positives away from it, or do you look at it as a disappointment?
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, we always want to win every game, and then at home you especially want to win. But I also mentioned yesterday that you have to look at every game as an individual game, but then you have to look at the series. We played 3 games this week, right? Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. You have to look at different parts of the season, beginning of the season, summer, after the summer. And so I think as far as important as the home games are, you got to take big picture too. We took 7 points out of 9 points in 3 games, and that's very good. And that's the importance of having the mindset that you can go on the road and win points. And then the other thing is that we pushed the game, I feel like, pretty hard. I mean, we played with, at the end of the game, we had 2 number 10s on the field, 7, 9, 11. We just had 4 defenders in number 6, because Oni's an attacking player, Miran's an attacking player. We had attacking players all over the field, and we didn't get opened up in transition, right? So even though we were pushing the game, it didn't become a game where all of a sudden we were going to get, where it became really back and forth and where we were taking unnecessary risks. So I would say that's also positive.
We'll go back there.
And Coach, you guys are still unbeaten in the month of May, and this is your 5th clean sheet of the season. Just especially for that clean sheet, how important is that for this organization?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have a clean sheet, you have a chance of winning the game. So I think it's massively important, and I think that's to Mark's point, like that's one of the positives, right? The positive is we pushed the game, but we were able to maintain a clean sheet. So it wasn't this all or nothing, and all of a sudden it's 3 points dropped at home instead of 2.
Any other English? Go to Spanish.
Head coach Mikey Varas following the match against Kansas City in a 0-0 effort, and you heard it there. I mean, it was a difficult match, and he did give credit to just the discipline that Kansas City did present, and I think Kansas City just knew what they were doing, right? As is mentioned here earlier, it was their 3rd road game in 7 days as well, and at the end of those road stints, you're just running on fumes, and San Diego City had the advantage of playing those 3 games, but those 3 games were here at home. They can practice here, and travel is a major point of discussion in MLS, especially with such a big country, for sure. But at the end of the day, you have a chance to really take opportunities, and you can tell that Mikey Varas, and we'll hear from Captain Yepes Verskov here in a bit as well, that this felt like a loss overall. Like this tie felt like a loss, and felt like 2 drop points, as we'll hear from captain of San Diego FC, Yepes Verskov.
Tony Sanchez, San Diego Football. Yepe, you faced a team that was giving a lot of space and giving a lot of options for the squad for the full 90. What made it so difficult in order to go ahead and get past that final third and be clinical in the last?
Yeah, I think they actually made it difficult for us because they dropped a lot and made the spaces small in front of their box. They gave away space in our half and maybe the 1/3 of their half, but the 2/3 of their half was very narrow and it's difficult to lock up a team that drops a lot. So yeah, it's maybe looking like an easy game because we have the ball a lot and we press to score, but it's difficult.
Was it difficult to adapt to the transition when you have attacking players joining that midfield like Milan Iloski did and Oni Balakari did in the second half?
No, I think it's sometimes you want to try things, right? We try to break them down from first minute almost, and sometimes it's okay to do some new stuff and put people a little bit out of position to get something out of the ordinary. That's football. Sometimes you try something, and I thought they did a good job trying, but it also maybe disrupted the rhythm a little bit. But sometimes that's also what it takes.
You're facing a team that ought to be very low on the table, was without its best player tonight. You created a lot of chances, had a lot of the ball. This is the age-old question: whenever you tie a game, do you look at it as a point gained or 2 points lost?
I think when we are home and the game developed as it did, I think we feel like it's 2 points lost. It's that's how it feels right after in the moment and right now. We also have to have in mind like we come from a mid-game week and have 7 points from 7 days, and that's quite good when you look at it tomorrow. But obviously after 2 wins to 2 first game and feeling like we had the game plan right for this game, we are of course a little bit disappointed.
Any other questions? Here, another one? Okay.
Yeah, after the match, there were some words with the referee. Seemed to be some frustrations there. Can you talk a little bit about that conversation? What was it about, and how did that go about?
No, I think it's just football and emotions, first of all. I think our feeling at the pitch was that they deliberately tried to make the game slow and drag it out a lot. And they both succeeded at that, but we also felt like the game was maybe a little bit too slow just also, in general. So, we were a little frustrated at the end because, it's emotion, it's running high, and we want to press and score the goal. So I don't think it's like a bigger issue, but that's basically it.
The last one right here.
Hi. How do you feel about this standing right now? So this is first year standing FC, but much better than LAFC and LA Galaxy. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think from the outside, from looking for you guys and what I could feel like before the season, people were surprised where we're at right now. We look like a team that's maybe been playing a little bit more together than we actually have, and we feel good at least. I think internally we saw quite quickly during the preseason that we feel like we have a good team and we have a good way of playing football. It suits our player very good, and we can set up our star players by playing out and be brave. And I don't think we are surprised as we feel like we get the feeling from people outside of the team.
The last one here.
You guys have had a very impressive start to the season. A few downs, but mostly ups. And you have seen some of the challenges that this league presents. There's a lot of players in this team that have not played in this league before. It's a league that offers some very different challenges that you don't see elsewhere. As we're getting closer to summer and you're going to be hitting some human sites and playing in situations that you don't play in Europe, what are you anticipating? How is that challenge going to inform what this team is about?
It's a very good question because we don't know yet. Personally, I felt it myself, and I think before you're going into, for example, a game at Colorado, or we also played in Austin, where it's quite hot, even though it was summer. You kind of feel like, it's even for everybody, and everybody's gonna struggle a little bit. But you get like blown back over a little bit about it, and I feel like now we have experienced some of it, so you kind of now are, before we go into those games, a little bit more aware about it. I think that's also why today is one of those days where you feel like you missed 2 points, because it feels like people here are very eager about this home pitch 3 points kind of thing, because traveling is difficult in this league. So we are aware, but again, not to make it too long, I feel the way we play is beneficial both here, but keeping the ball, being brave, being good on the ball, open our teams and let them come and score from pressing situations is something you can do both away and home. Like we're not a team that only lives by energy, by the crowd at home. We have a style, and I think it fits good for playing away also.
Captain Jeppe Sverskov, and you can tell that there was a real push towards the end to as they say in Spanish, todo asador, to go all out and try to get that win. Let's get to some of your reactions here. Let us know here on YouTube, Instagram, and X what you believe and feel about this game or all the 3 games combined from the past week. But even then, KC played with the low block and could have played on the counterattack, but they didn't. I completely agree. The opportunities were there, but they just weren't taken. We went hard for it with subs. I like the call to push for the W. And literally, like, that's, you have the strikers, and you heard Mikey say, like, we just want to go ahead and maybe try something out. And Yepe said that too. They were literally trying something out and trying a new look. They felt like the game was controlled enough to where you can experiment and move forward and put Milanilovsky in the midfield, because there was a hot hand happening up in the front, and Dreyer was starting to get some composure. But Luka is definitely somebody who is starting to be looked at if you really take these last couple of games in terms of his overall production. And Mikey called out that his final touch just isn't there right now. He isn't as sharp as he can potentially be. So, Luka de la Torres is a player that maybe isn't as match fit, not necessarily match fit, but just at 100% right now. So what that means for that midfield will be left to see. And again, the 3rd match of 3 within a week. Do you think Mikey should have made more rotation in the squad because of the 3 games? I mean, I think you also need to go ahead and in a way, red line, and this is what coaches do, the fitness of the players that you have, right? Because you want to make sure that you have ultimately the best chance to win. And if that means that the players that you're going to go ahead and start and have been starting and trusting have enough in the tank to get it done, I firmly believe that that's why the first half was the way it was. It was a boring first half, to be completely honest. And nobody really wanted anything. They were just kind of testing the waters. The first half, there was a couple of shots from outside the box. Chucky getting himself on the end of that one. Dreyer making a play, I believe, going ahead and crossing all the way the entirety of the box and nobody making contact at the end. So they were knocking on the door, but the importance again of a 9, and San Diego FC is definitely creating those chances. And right now, if you want to go by the stats, San Diego FC is currently 4-0 when they are leading by a goal, I believe, in the second half. They didn't score a goal today, but how they are undefeated as well when they're 6-0, I believe, where no, someone put a stat. But either way, on the attacking front, San Diego FC just wasn't on their best night in terms of finishing. And so time's coming. We're going to see what the timeline is for Marcus Varson. We did see him yesterday at training, and he did look like he was pushing a little harder than he normally does on the side. But he has a chance, hopefully, to come into the squad and, breathe some life on that 9 position and really just be that focal point in the offense that San Diego FC needs him to be, because everything else is working so far. Everything else around without Marcus Varson has been working. They've been developing in that style. So if you put somebody who also understands that style in Varson, you may potentially still see a better version of San Diego FC, a better version than the San Diego FC that put 5 behind FC Dallas. A better version of that with Marcus Varson. Once Dreyer gets his things figured out, he doesn't have the responsibility of having to drift through the middle or be tasked down the middle and have to contemplate, hey, I need to go ahead and be a little bit less selfish. There was a play in the second half where it almost seemed like a replay of the St. Louis second goal where he was going to go ahead and draw the goalkeeper out to the side and just slot it through, but he just thought about it, looked to the middle, unselfish play, crossed it to the middle, but it was at that point just completely the wrong choice to make. It was the unselfish choice, but at that point you just got to shoot, hopefully get a rebound indoors, create some chaos. That's a goal, or get a shot off. You probably get a corner, even though they had all the corners in the world and couldn't even then score San Diego FC. Let's get through some of these comments. Now, not yet. If we get cooked by more injuries in the next few days, then maybe. But I love the swag from the whole organization. Having moved from SD after growing up 30 years, yeah, SD is just better. Thank you, Nick Bradford. From then, procrastinated Puma blaming the rain again. That's a point of discussion here. The surface of Snapdragon Stadium is making headlines once again. And for the unfortunate situations that they have found themselves in the last couple of years. Problem is you don't exactly have much room for rotations, which is true. It's not necessarily the deepest squad. Yepe is bringing Sexy back this summer down in that midfield. Casey was also missing their best player 100%. Jovalic not in the lineup, so San Diego kind of got lucky there in a lot of different ways. Marcus will cook, mark my words. Shuki will look better. Dreyer will be cutting people, and Dr. Speeds, absolutely. But yeah, San Diego FC tie 0-0 against Sporting Kansas City here at Snapdragon Stadium in what turned out to be a difficult matchup for San Diego FC. We did have Luca Bombino at the post-match press conference as well. You can check the full post-match press conference on our YouTube, or you can follow it on our website, sandiego.football. That is sandiego.football. Get yourself a nifty hat at sandiego.football/cantina, and you can go ahead and get yourself settled there. So, with that said, no, pásale, está bien. It's part of it. So sandiego.football/cantina is where you can go ahead and find all of that good stuff. We will go ahead and break down this entire game and all three games that we've had in the past couple of days on San Diego Football's flagship podcast, Two Balls and a Mic on Monday. Tony, why is SDSU struggling with this pitch? Never seen something like it. What do they need to do? I mean, they need to go ahead and they have three other fields in Escondido, I believe Escondido, in their fields over there, but it costs $400,000 to move that field over here. And San Diego State's coffers aren't that deep, but then you're going to enter into a negotiation with San Diego FC if they want to cover some of that. But then again, you know, you're already renting and you're getting to a literal landlord situation where it's like, hey, like, go ahead and fix the fridge. Like, it's part of the lease, it's part of the agreement. And they're like, well, it's a little bit too expensive to do that. What you got right now still works. You can make it happen. As you remember, San Diego Wave was told, no, the pitch is in playing conditions. To which San Diego Wave responded with, no, it's not. Let's get the league out here for NWSL to tell you that no, it's not safe. So we're going to go ahead and cancel a game. And hopefully that doesn't happen here for Snapdragon Stadium for a second year in a row. That would be most unfortunate. Follow and ring the bell. Cisco, they need their own stadium. I mean, who doesn't? Give everybody a new stadium. Everybody needs a stadium. Soccer needs a soccer-specific stadium here in San Diego, but this is what we have for right now. Snapdragon Stadium will go ahead and be hosting San Diego FC once again in the month of May, and that is going to be coming up on a day game next week. It is LA versus San Diego, Los Angeles versus San Diego, May 24th at 1:45 p.m. San Diego FC runs it back against the current reigning defending, pretty wounded champions in LA Galaxy. They faced Galaxy in their first ever match up in Carson, 2-0. I know that was a huge point of, wow, this is San Diego. They're doing so great. Look at what they did to the champions. And then you look over to what what LA Galaxy's done this season. And it's like, okay. It doesn't take anything away from San Diego FC, but it's still interesting to bring the context of LA Galaxy on to this one. Rebuild Balboa Stadium, says Procrastinating Puma. Hey, why not? Bring copious amounts of water. All right, so I do believe that's going to be it for me today. We will have the full breakdown, like I said, of this game and last game against. I can't who I don't the last two games here at home at Snapdragon Stadium on Two Balls and a Mic, San Diego's #1 soccer podcast every Monday at 8 p.m. on this very channel, San Diego Football. We will go ahead and catch you at the end of the week, the beginning of the week. See you Monday. Thank you guys for joining. Colorado, thank you 619 Soccer. And now for the leaf blowers to start. Actually, no, as you guys saw, it's a fantastic cleaning crew who, you know, after everybody leaves and has fun, this is the reality of it. This is why it's cool to kind of be here. Everybody's getting their own. So thank you once again. It is absolutely cold out here. Did not bring a jacket. Thank you, Darren Smith and Adrian Garcia Marquez, for having me on the radio broadcast for the pre-show for this matchup. It was cool getting into the booth and talking some SDFC on the official radio broadcast on the pregame. So check that out on San Diego Sports 760 and on the iHeartRadio app. And yeah, with that, see you guys on Monday. Thank you for it. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, and tell your friends. I'm just reading at that point. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, everybody who's joined. And see you on Monday. Have a good one and get home safe. Good night.